Welcome to the Milkshake Break. I'm Elyse Willems.
And I'm Zach Anner, and this is the podcast where we have a different milkshake every week and we discuss all the important things about life that aren't actually important.
Life, love, business, lactose intolerance.
We are two lactose intolerant people who love milkshakes, and I think this podcast sort of came about because Elyse and I are always milkshake buddies. Whenever we are hanging out, we're always the person who encourages the other one to get a milkshake. And as I was thinking about this podcast, Elyse, because I was looking for depth in this very shallow idea.
You're not going to find it here, but go on.
No, I did. I found a real reason why this podcast needs to exist. I realized that for us, milkshakes are the perfect sort of microcosm of life because milkshakes bring us incredible joy followed by intense pain.
And misery.
But the joy of milkshakes, as in life, is worth all the suffering.
The anticipation of the shake, the enjoyment of the shake, and the friendship that we get from the shared experience of the shake.
I think I've hit on this before, but one of the things that I hope that we create with this podcast is whenever I'm feeling down or, just like I don't want to hang out with people at all, like you are the people that I still want to hang out with. It's always nice to have those friends where no matter how you're feeling, people will come over and they won't necessarily try and cheer you up. They won't make it about themselves and
I never will
make this better. No, you never do.
I never try to cheer you up.
But
That's
you always wind up doing that incidentally. So
I feel that way with you, Zach, in that, and I honestly, that means so much to me because I consider you to be one of those friends where I don't need to be in a certain mood to want to hang out with you.
Yeah, I think you've told me as you've come into my house, like I'm in a terrible mood.
Yeah, I'm feeling bad. I feel sick or I'm in a bad mood, but I don't feel like, I guess what I'm saying is I have no expectations with you.
Yeah,
None.
I have no expectations with you or of you.
Exactly.
I feel like we have low expectations for what this is going to be, and that's the same energy that we're bringing to our podcast.
Exactly. We're just telling people, have a milkshake. It's going to make you feel better. For at least for a temporary time, it's going to bring you closer to another person that you have that milkshake with.
And then you're going to have diarrhea, and that will bring you closer because there's nothing more human than having to rush to the toilet and just let it all out. What do you do when James is in the bathroom and you don't have time?
I guess we should give some background for anyone that doesn't know. James is my husband and we're all good friends as well, but James is a health nut. And I think that's also why you and I get along, and I cherish your friendship so much because there's nothing I enjoy more than enjoying bad food, but with someone else.
Should we introduce this week's shake?
For sure.
Jillian, our podcast producer, one of our podcast producers, actually came up with this. It was way more complicated than I was prepared for.
Same. I ran to the store last night because one of the ingredients I was like, is that even a thing? Is that a real thing? Did she put this on here to check if I would actually read it?
Yeah.
Was this a test?
I had a few of those too. And to be honest, some of the ingredients in this milkshake are not what they're supposed to be.
I may have a few dark horses in there as well.
Okay, well this milkshake is very exciting and very timely.
Yes.
It's called the Tear I Miss You milkshake. It's a play on tiramisu of Olive Garden fame.
That's where it's from.
Elyse, do you want to read the ingredients to this milkshake?
For sure, I got them right here. So the ingredients, as Jillian presented them to us, and if you're making your own shake at home, this is what I would follow. But then Zach and I can kind of tell you what went into our shakes.
Okay.
So coffee ice cream is your base. That's your main. Chocolate syrup, mascarpone cheese. And I'm not even sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly because I
how
never.
You're supposed to say it? Is it?
Hey, mascarpone, my tiramisu, mascarpone. Like I don't even know. I thought that was the ingredient that I thought was a test to see if I was paying attention. And when she gave us the ingredients, there was a note in parentheses that said, "Don't worry, Zach, it's not really like cheese."
Because I have a very complicated relationship with cheese.
We'll get to that later.
What are the other things that we were supposed to have?
Cinnamon, and then optional ingredients are rum, ladyfingers, and cocoa powder garnish. Everything that I imagine goes into tiramisu is included in this, and maybe even then some. It's a quite eloquent recipe. Like, I think Jillian was underestimating how overestimating how sophisticated we are.
So here's where we fucked with mine. Okay. So they did not have coffee ice cream at the store. So my mom made coffee ice cream with vanilla and actual coffee.
Oh.
And then the mascarpone they did not have.
Hey, the mascarpone!
And so what we did, and this is probably a huge mistake where this goes off the rails, is we put cream cheese in it instead. So there's bagel DNA in this milkshake. And there was an optional thing for a lady's finger in there, and I didn't find there were not those either. So really, just about half the stuff.
Your mom was degaffing. She did not give a fuck about this shake.
She did it the best she could. That's my mom, always doing the best she can, and maybe not quite getting there, but it's gonna be tasty anyway.
That's wonderful of her. Last night I ran to 2 Trader Joe's to get my ingredients. I got coffee ice cream, which the first Trader Joe's I went to did not have. So fortunately, there's one every 2 blocks in Los Angeles, so I went to another one.
You actually jogged to both of these?
No. I metaphorically ran. I drove. It's hot. It's really hot here. And I didn't have a shake to cool me down at the time. But so I definitely have coffee ice cream, legitimate, not.
That's good.
Not Frankenstein like Zach's.
I can see that the color of ours is very different.
They are. Mine's a healthy taupe.
Yeah, and you got the chocolate syrup drizzles on the side.
I also bought chocolate syrup, and I wasn't sure if because the recipe, bless Jillian, it was kind of vague. It was sort of like, here are the ingredients, paint your own canvas. So I just kind of drizzled the chocolate syrup on top. And but I did get the mascarpone, Trader Joe's, and it blew my mind because I was like, okay, I'm gonna go to the Trader Joe's cheese section. If it's there, it's there. If it's not, I don't really know what to do because I'm not even sure if this cheese is real. And thankfully, it took me maybe all of a minute to scan and find it. So I do have the cheese in there. I also put milk in mine. I put lactated milk in mine.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there's milk in this. What do you do when you have milk? Are you a 2% person?
I guess traditionally I'm 2%.
Yeah, see, that doesn't even, you gotta up that.
Doesn't even register for you.
No. Should we try this?
We should. Cheers.
Even though our experiences are going to be very different.
Mine's delicious.
This is great.
This is fantastic.
I couldn't imagine this being any better with mascarpone cheese as opposed to cream cheese.
You'll never know.
I'll never know. We're not making this again. Next week, we're going straight chocolate. This tiramisu milkshake is very timely because we're missing everybody at these times, and I think the only thing that can really take the place of human contact and socialization is a milkshake, and it does a hell of a job.
Yeah, I mean, do we change to a milkshake-based society? Because a lot's going to change after.
Because I was missing my friends before I drank this, and then I drank it, and I'm like, screw those guys. I don't want to share this. Some people are going to be listening to this on audio. Yeah. So do we have any descriptors for this milkshake? Some real, great. How would Vladimir Nabokov describe this milkshake?
I would say frothy, rich.
Yeah.
What's the afterbirth like? That's
the what?
What lingers.
Oh,
sort of.
Oh yeah. Okay. I just never had heard that described.
Pardon me. Aftertaste.
It's an almost very smooth coffee flavor that is just travels down your throat. It's like a post-nasal drip of joy. That's how I would describe it.
And if I was sitting under this, Sicilian sun in the rolling hills, and I almost felt like I had a little bit of a clogged nose.
Am I getting a cold, or is this just a wonderful
This is just
experience?
a really good milkshake. Because I think the best idea when you're recording a podcast and people are going to listen to it is to load up on dairy.
Yeah, just a lot of phlegm.
I hope that people will send us recipes. We're going to have an Instagram feed that's going to show off this recipe.
Send us recipes and also the stories of what these milkshakes have meant to you. Mm-hmm. And we'll share them on the podcast.
And your themes. And we'll provide some information of where you can do that. All right. Well, our first segment is something, it's actually it's a matter of housekeeping because you were supposed to handle it, Zach, and you didn't have it ready in time for the show. You were supposed to make the theme song for the show.
I did make the theme song.
Oh, you did?
I made a theme song, and I was just thinking, what is it that our friendship represents? What is the joy that we want to put out into the world?
Okay.
And I made a little something, and I think you're going to love it. It really encapsulates the vibe we're going for.
All right, let's play it.
I can tell that you're a little iffy on what we're going for, but just see where it leads to. Are you loving it? See, doesn't that make you think, oh man, we're going to enjoy some milkshakes?
It's absolutely beautiful. It's quite long it's about 53 seconds. It's quite long for a theme song.
It's a little long, but I thought, maybe we could do the lead in over it,
So you recorded that.
I just threw something together on my computer.
You composed that?
Yes. Specifically thinking about us, our friendship, milkshakes.
The music kind of rises to a fever pitch there.
Yeah, I feel like there is a heroism to what we're doing. So I wanted to get the epicness of the two of us sitting down and drinking milkshakes.
Zach, did you actually write that song?
Yes, I did.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
Okay, I thought it was a goof. I thought that you sent me that's actually quite good.
Oh, sorry. I didn't know. Does it not work as a joke?
No. I didn't know that you had that musical prowess. I just thought what I thought you did was you sent me an existing song score, and then you were trying to pass it off as your own, which is what I would do. That's pretty great.
Well, thanks.
I had a note here that was open call for music spots, but I don't even know if we have listeners that could make anything better than that. I don't even know if we have listeners.
We probably don't, but maybe if you think, if you're a composer that gets an idea of from listening to this podcast about, what would be the vibe of a theme song that's a little shorter, maybe a little less epic, send it our way.
Yes, because if anything, we need to make this podcast less epic.
These episodes are going to be 3 hours long, so.
This is a breaking story on the Milkshake Break. We just got word from our producer, Jillian, that we have secured the email address for the milkshakebreak@gmail.com.
Not everybody can get those.
Not everybody can get those.
Are hard to come by.
And what else, Zach?
And we got the Instagram of the Milkshake Break. So we're going to be posting our milkshake photos to that Instagram. And if you want to send, this is an interactive community. So any of the segments that we're talking about, if you want to be involved, just email the milkshakebreak@gmail.com.
Yeah, formerly Garfield mail, as we all know.
Yeah, but like he could only send mail on Mondays.
Wouldn't that be the worst day to send mail?
That would have been the worst day.
Anyway, that's exciting news. I'm glad, and I also hope that we continue to break news and stories during the podcast.
I think that this is, we're a fast-moving show, constantly evolving.
And that sort of brings us to our next segment, I think. But before we get to our next segment, Zach, I wanted to do a check-in here, a gut check. That's what we'll call them. We'll call them gut checks because it's a double entendre. Because a gut check is usually when you're unsure about something and you're like, "What's my gut say?" But then I'm also thinking gut check because my stomach's starting to churn a little bit.
Yep, it's getting a little iffy already. I think it was a bad choice to start with something that was coffee-based.
Mm-hmm. I can't agree with you more because I actually bought this ice cream about 6 months ago and then swore to never buy it again because it upset my stomach so much because of the coffee. I love coffee flavor, but why did you get serious looking like that?
As you're talking about it, I'm taking stock of what's going on in my body.
Oh, no.
And it's tough.
Oh, well, okay, let's distract ourselves then, because while you were talking about the moving and shaking, it really led into our next segment, ingredients of success. This is another play on, because you think of the ingredients of the milkshake. What makes a successful milkshake?
Yeah.
We're flipping it to life.
So, a lot of people are working from home right now because I don't know what the reason is, but it seems like a lot of people are working from home. What do you think is successful? What makes a successful home office?
And it's great that you asked that question because we can talk a little bit here about what we do and what our career aspirations are. I'm a producer and cast member, and I work in comedy and gaming, and I do videos that are in those realms. And so when I had to move to an at-home setup, I had to transition my entire office setup to my little tiny one-bedroom apartment. So I've got like lighting in here, I've got a webcam, I've got audio set up with a mixer, and so every day I'm cranking out content. And it's kind of been a struggle. I'm grateful to be working, but it was a transition.
For me, because I'm just sort of, I work here and there. I'm sort of a modern day Renaissance man. I've been doing
You're kind of a modern day, what's the Pied Piper who like led the children, what?
What?
I don't know.
What do you think I do?
I don't know.
What do you think my job is?
I think I was trying to make a joke about how like you kind of just do your thing and then people follow, but I didn't make I didn't make a good analogy.
Okay. I've been doing a lot of my work from an inflatable hot tub.
When you told me you got an inflatable hot tub, I didn't know that was a thing that exists.
And it's an important business tool that is going to be a write-off. I've been listening to audiobooks in the hot tub. I've been taking business calls in the hot tub. My phone is currently being repaired for water damage. It's true. It's true.
Now, I feel like people are going to hear this and they're going to say, oh man, poor Zach. He dropped his phone in the hot tub. What people should know. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm just going to say nobody should have pity on anyone that drops a phone in the hot tub. But what are you going to say?
I should say especially you, because you actually like to make it a recurring joke to drop your phone into hot tubs to make other people, to catch other people off guard.
Because I thought it was waterproof. And clearly it was not. And the protection plan I have on the phone, it does not cover drops in the hot tub. And I always thought it did. And what I've learned is that the hot tub is actually more imperative to success than a working phone. Like
that rings true because I was trying to contact you for about a week and sending text messages that were just not falling on deaf ears.
And
then
did
I finally
miss anything important?
You didn't at all. And then I finally called you. I said, okay, I'm just going to call him because I feel like he had hinted at maybe there was something wrong with his phone. So I called you and you said, when you answered, you said, I don't have much time. I'm talking through my watch.
Yeah.
Which I love that because why wouldn't you have much time?
I mean, the thing about time is, and I've learned this from the watch, is it's finite, for each of us. So it's just whenever you call on the watch, I know exactly how long we've been talking because, it's just
a watch.
Do you think that our home offices have made us more successful?
I will say for me, I do think my home office hasn't necessarily made me feel successful because I do think that being stuck at home has limited the ambition of my ideas, like the scope. Obviously, there's no studio, there's no production resources to really up produce anything. However, that being said, I do think that just being at home and kind of being in my head more, not really having things to distract myself with, I am more successful in that I'm thinking more about my own ideas and what those could be. What about you? What does your hot tub do for you?
That's really smart. The way it's manifested itself for me is that I have only put on shoes 3 times in 5 months. I only wear sweats or sweat shorts, and I'm living as a 35-year-old man at my mom's house, so it's really no downside.
But your mom's pretty awesome, and you're also saving in rent. And I'm living in this box like a schmuck.
I'm saving up for my triumphant return to California. I'm gonna get a velvet blazer to just and a horse to ride in on. And
California's favorite son returns.
Yeah. So yeah, I feel less successful, more grateful. Let's say that.
That's a good way to put it because I do feel grateful. I feel like I've had some introspective moments, which, as you know me as being the very superficial person I typically am, those are few and far between.
No, I think there's a base level of introspection and depth to all Canadians, such as yourself.
You know how Catholicism tells us that all babies are born with sin? That's just the Canadian ethos. All Canadians are born with something to apologize for.
Do you remember the first time you didn't apologize for something? Or has it not happened yet?
I try to not apologize for now in life for things that aren't really my fault. Because I think that's also a characteristic of women where we're just known to be something we just apologize for everything, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm trying to be more conscious of that. And if you're late, instead of saying I'm sorry I'm late, instead saying thank you for waiting for me. Trying to rephrase instead of just being apologetic. There's a law in Canada, actually, because Canadians are so apologetic that, say, for example, I run a store and someone falls in my store and breaks their leg. Me saying I'm sorry in Canada cannot be admitted as an admission of responsibility.
Really? Because there were so many people that sued because you apologized for it, you must have.
Yeah, and I guess maybe in America that's the thing where if you do apologize, you're assuming the responsibility of this incident. So in Canada, because people are so apologetic, there's a law saying no, that does not count.
I think I'm from Buffalo, so I'm basically Canadian.
Asshole of America. Yeah, that's what. Right. Buffalo. No, Buffalo seems lovely.
Buffalo's great. Yeah, sure.
I've been to the airport.
Your first response was what you really felt, but
no, a lot of Canadians go to Buffalo because you can buy the bagged milk cheaper.
We have bagged milk here?
Yeah, you never. I'm positive you do.
No, I mean,
Why you sound so disgusted?
Is it just a bag of? Do they pour it into the bag there? Is it like a fountain?
No, when you buy a bag of milk, I mean, there's the big bag which holds the smaller sacks of milk, and then you take the sack of milk and you put it in a pitcher and you cut a little hole in the corner, and that's how you pour out your milk.
So you Canadians are just walking up and down the street drinking your milk sacks.
Think about it. Imagine if you were making a milkshake and you could just put a whole sack of milk in there, which also, I guess, back to our milkshakes today, you didn't put milk in yours, huh?
No, there's whole milk in mine.
Oh, there is whole milk. Okay, sorry. We talked about that.
Oh, man, the more I drink this, the more I think that this podcast is going to be shorter than we thought.
I know. Maybe we should keep moving then.
Let's keep moving. Yeah. As somebody who apologizes a lot, I think that maybe should bring us to our next segment. It's called "It's Not My Malt," where at least
it's not your malt.
It's not your malt. So this is what is this segment?
Well, really, we're supposed to ask people for stories about times they may or may not have been in the wrong, and then brainstorm our own case in which we draw blanks. So. Is my understanding that you have a situation?
I have a situation from myself this week.
Wait, is this you in a situation where you apologize? Because I don't really know you as an apologetic person.
No, this is not something I apologize for, but this is something that you could tell me whether or not I should.
Okay.
We may not have strong physical constitutions, but our moral constitution is very strong.
I would say so. Strong moral compasses.
Is moral constitution not a thing? Did I turn a phrase that doesn't exist?
It does now.
Before we started with this podcast, I may have found a little background. So I have a nose hair trimmer. It doesn't work anymore. And I found one in a closet that I didn't know whose it was, and I used it without asking anyone. And then I may have put it back without washing it. Because I feel like it's the person's responsibility who is sticking the nose hair trimmer in their nostril to clean it beforehand, which I also did not do.
I will say, I think this is a great topic for a podcast where we're asking people to consume a food item while they're listening.
I think so. But, this is not only me being wrong, it's me being very rude and inappropriate.
Let me ask you, have you just since discovered who the owner of the nose hair trimmer is?
I want them to discover that I used it when I watched. When they watch this podcast.
You don't want the mystery to be broken. Okay. I guess it's an exceptional situation because you're not in your own home.
Yeah.
So you're sort of at the mercy of what.
And I had my own nose hair trimmer. It just wasn't working. And this one had a nice little light on it.
For me personally, I would say it is not on the onus of the nose hair trimmer owner to clean it. I would say even if I was going to use it, I would clean it first. Even if I knew that the person that used it prior to me cleaned it, I would clean it first before I used it.
That would have been smart.
Did you clean it before you used it?
No.
You just went for it. So you don't even know if it was cleaned before you used it.
No, I don't.
Does it matter whose nose because the thing is, maybe this person builds judgments of who's using their nose hair trimmer. So maybe say, for example, whoever owns this, if they knew that you were using it and not cleaning it, they'd be like, okay. But then if they learned that your brother was using it and not cleaning it, they'd say, whoa.
So are you saying that they would, just because I have cerebral palsy, that they would give me a pass? Because that's ableist, and in that case, I'm glad
you immediately you jumped to that conclusion yourself. I was saying it's a pure hygienic question. Is that this person perceives? Let's flip it then. That whoever owns this nose hair trimmer thinks you're just a disgusting skis ball, and would rather that Brad uses it and not you.
They're out of luck because I don't think my brother would ever use it. I think he would. My brother would probably stick a normal, straight razor up there He's very he's crafty that way.
I'm just saying that the owner might consider one person hygienic and another person not, and they would give that person a pass.
Well, then I would not be that person. You can't tell from that story that I probably wouldn't be considered the hygienic person if I'm just sticking random stuff
you
on
find
my nose
cupboards.
that I find.
I would say that yes, you probably shouldn't. If you were going to use it, I guess the decent thing would have been to clean it after you used it,
Well,
especially knowing that you have strong postnasal drip.
We'll put it to the audience because I disagree.
Well, I bet you do.
Put it to the audience. So I guess the real question is this my malt or is this some stranger's malt?
Okay, well, hang on. Why would it be the stranger's malt?
Because they left it. They left the nose hair trimmer where I could reach it.
They're saying because they don't have this nose hair trimmer under lock and key, because it's in a public space.
It doesn't have to be under lock and key. If you didn't want me grabbing something, you could have just put it on one of the higher shelves.
Okay, well, now you're making this an ableist thing.
I'm just saying, if they didn't want me to use it, they shouldn't have made it accessible.
Wait a second. So you would be totally fine with someone treating you that way? Just saying like, well, I don't want to have this conversation. I don't want to have the conflict with Zach. I really don't want to have this conversation where I tell him that he can't use this. So I'm just going to put it in a higher spot.
If they put it in a higher spot, I never would have known it existed.
Okay, I guess fair enough.
So
fair enough.
I mean, that's on them. Sounds like you're saying it's their malt.
It's definitely your malt. That's not up for discussion. I'm sure the audience. I'm sure we'll have some Zach fans in the audience that are going to do their damnedest to try to.
No one's gonna be on my side for this. No one.
I'm really curious, like when the unknown person who owns this listens to this podcast, how they're going to react.
How mad can you get about a nose hair trimmer, really?
Well, I guess we'll find out.
Find out.
So before we move on, putting this out there, if you have a question that you're wondering, is this my malt? Is this my friend or family member's malt or stranger's malt? Send it to us at themilkshakebreak@gmail.com or ask us on Instagram in a comment. We'll help you out.
And if you have any nose hair trimmer specific instances, the more the better. If we have to do this every week, I'm on board.
You had a cool idea for a segment where we come up with a joke of the week, but we kind of do it together.
Here's how this started. Initially, I think somebody had pitched that I do a joke of the week, and then I came up with a bunch of setups, but my punchlines aren't very good.
That's curious because you've told me that you have endless time to sit in a hot tub and come up with these things.
I told you that I was taking business meetings in the hot tub, that there was I usually write jokes on my phone, which I don't have because it's wet.
Okay, all right. I guess you're wrong. I'm wrong. You're right. Okay. So you're gonna pitch the setup of the joke, and then I alone figure out the punchline, or can we workshop it at least?
Yeah, we can workshop it. I mean, I've got some stuff, but
okay. Okay.
So the first one is, and the setup itself, it leads to so many thoughts. What did the cow say to the corporate accountant?
And so, do you have something for this already, or?
Yes, I do. But
okay,
I want to see what you think it is.
What did the cow say to the corporate accountant? I thought that was the setup.
Mm-hmm.
Something about like, did you move those funds?
Oh, that's way better.
I've been looking at the first quarter. The results are utterly disappointing.
That's way better than what I was
Are
thinking.
they though?
Here,
what do you have?
Okay, so ask me the joke.
What did the cow say to the corporate accountant?
Moo. Because why? What does it matter who a cow is talking to? But really, they only converse in the one way. See?
I think there's another route you can go with that, which is well, ask me ask me the setup.
Okay. No, wait. You have to ask. No, I have to ask you what.
Yeah, because
right?
I'm going to give my punchline.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. So you go.
No, you have to ask me.
No, wait. No, I don't think that's how jokes work.
I'm going to give you a punchline.
Okay. So what did the cow say to the corporate accountant?
We should really look over these figures. I don't think Kavinsky has been keeping up the books.
See, these are great. These are great jokes.
What I did was I removed every, it doesn't matter that he's a cow.
Yeah. And it shouldn't matter that he's a cow. It's a joke.
That's a good one. All right. Well, it's getting to be about that time. Our glasses are almost empty. So it's only fitting, I think, that we introduce our next segment, which is aptly titled Scary Dairy.
Yeah.
And I think you might be able to interpret what this means a little bit.
But as two lactose intolerant people, we have a lot of close calls when we have our milkshakes out and about, and or any dairy product, really.
For me, it's just like any food. I just have a really sensitive constitution. I have a moral constitution and I have a sensitive constitution.
Yeah.
I'm known for both.
Same. I mean, I think we're both morally strong, physically weak.
That should be the name of this podcast. Morally strong, physically weak. Actually, we should sell t-shirts that say morally strong, physically weak. Get those on the presses, print on demand. My thing is I'm the type of person that I always, whenever I'm going somewhere, need to know where a restroom is. Like, it's the first thing I do once I get somewhere. I'm like, where is the bathroom in case I need it? And in the pandemic, that's been quite unnerving because, sometimes even it's just my husband James and I will be like, okay, let's drive over to, the beach and we'll take our dog for a walk there. But then the public restrooms are closed, or I don't really know what the protocol is, so I'm kind of panicking inside.
Oh yeah, you can't really. I only enjoy fun things in retrospect, like after I've gotten home.
Yep.
And I haven't had an incident.
Like, yeah, instant onset stomach gurgling, and you need to immediately run to the bathroom. Yeah.
So was there anything recently that was like a real close call?
So once, James and I, we were going to look at. Oh yeah, Zach loves this. Is our campfire stories, our ghost stories. Once James and I were going to go look at a place to live, and my stomach was just cramping up. I had had a bad morning, and I was really, really panicked. And I got there, and I was like, I don't know if it's uncouth to, when you're going to go look at a place to live, to ask if you can use the bathroom and have diarrhea in it. Like, I think
that's what you have to do. How do you know if you want to live in a place unless you have diarrhea in it?
I guess so, but I mean, I will say, like, you only use bidets, right? So.
Oh yeah.
So you would, if you were going to go look at a place, would you have to bring your bidet along and test out the toilet?
You know what I would have to do? I would have to bring wet wipes and clog up the toilet and then
see if it can handle it.
Like, yeah, because it's like, if it can't flush those wipes, then I can't call this place my home.
No, the LA housing market is so rough right now. We should scare off potential buyers by going and clogging up toilets.
I mean, really, that's what we should do after the podcast, is we should go from showing to showing. Was there a real estate agent there who was like looking at you funny, or did you wind up going?
Oh, no. I just kind of did the thing where I was just praying that it wasn't going to escalate to that point. And then I think after just went to a, McDonald's or something.
Because I know if I'm going to have like McDonald's or something, I can't get it on at the beginning of a trip home. Like, I want to stop when I'm close to where I live.
I definitely will just try to eat suspicious things at home. And James always gives me a hard time because he's like, you shouldn't eat something and then immediately have to go to the bathroom.
That's just how it works.
That's just how it works.
There's always something ready. There's always something on deck.
Yeah. As we say in Canada, there's always something good going down at Mr. Sub. Mr. Sub is a rival chain of Subway restaurants to Subway. There's always something good going down at Mr. Sub. Mr. Sub being my colon.
If you found a house that had a perfect bathroom, but no roof, and let's say it didn't have a dishwasher, would you be
And
like?
The plumbing was just made of plastic straws.
Yeah, but it
joined
worked
together.
really well for you in the toilet. Would you sacrifice
A roof?
the rest of a house that you love to have a bathroom you love?
I'm gonna say no, Zach.
See, that's where we differ. That's because if I had the perfect bathroom, I could live in squalor for the rest of my existence. Because I would know bathroom is my home. It's my real home. Anyway, I feel like in terms of a first milkshake and first milkshake break, this has been pretty fun.
It's been delightful. I hope it's not TMI for some of our viewers. I guess what I also, aside from people feeling connected, I think for us, probably a lot of our issues with our sensitive constitutions and our moral constitutions have been kind of like sore spots in our lives, or like spots of difficulty, and things that you're maybe a little embarrassed about or you don't like to talk about. But we're saying like, it's okay to talk about these things.
It's okay to talk about it for 20 minutes while you're also drinking a milkshake.
And for me, like, it's natural bodily functions, even if you kind of instigate them by drinking a heavily dairied beverage. But for me, I used to feel pretty like, embarrassed about certain stuff until I got to the point where I said, it's just easier to tell people sometimes, like, hey, I have a sensitive stomach. And I think that kind of like wraps up our first episode, and we'll just put the call out there. Definitely send us your own scary dairy stories. Send us your questions for It's Not Your Malt. If you have a controversial point of contention, and send us your milkshake recipes. Like we said,
send us your milkshake recipes, the milkshake break at gmail.com or the milkshake break on Instagram. We're going to be posting your milkshakes on our Instagram, stealing your photos, not giving you credit. No.
Yeah. And if there's stuff you want us to talk about on this podcast, please, like, we're basically just looking for the audience to produce this podcast. Jillian is wonderful
for us. Yeah.
Jillian is wonderful, but we want her to have a milkshake break too.
There's a saying that I feel is very apt here. And I think we'll just leave you with, remember...
Rip it and rip it. Oh, sorry. What were you going to say?
No, I was going to say, remember... what was that saying that I came up with? Remember that the love you take is equal to the milk you shake.
Oh,
right?
That's beautiful.
See, what I did there was that the Beatles, the band, had some sort of ho-hum saying, and I improved it.
That's what we'll be doing a lot on the show, is taking many musical creations, lyrics from the Beatles and improving upon them as we see fit.
Yep. All right. Well, we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.